Je donne la parole à...
Now, I give the floor to the representative of Armenia.
Thank you, Mr. President. I apologize for taking the floor. It wasn't my intention. However, I am compelled to take the floor to reply to the comments made a little time ago by the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Azerbaijan. Every time I hear such statements based on falsified information, I never cease to be amused on how interesting phenomenon the wishful thinking can be. Having repeated the same lies year after year, one might even think that the leadership of Azerbaijan has started believing in what they've been lying about. But as I once quoted an Oriental saying, regardless of how many times you repeat sherbet, your tea will never become sweeter. And the reality is that no one buys the story of Armenia being the bad guy and having taken control of the Azerbaijani lands. Probably it is easy making statements when nobody is verifying what you say and what is truth or what is lie. Anybody who cares to find who's right and who's wrong will just have to search for newspaper articles of 1988 on how the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict started and when Azerbaijan responded with massacres and afterwards with full-scale war unleashed on the peaceful population of Armenian population. Other articles would refer to the period of 2004 when the ceasefire agreement was signed between the authorities of Azerbaijan, Nagorno-Karabakh and Armenia. You can Google them as well, but be careful. You might stumble on Azerbaijani sites with altered history of the world since the Great Flood and Noah till our days. This is because all the true information is prosecuted in Azerbaijan and all the truth-writing bloggers are behind bars. Armenia has never had any whatsoever claims from Azerbaijan, but the population of Nagorno-Karabakh autonomous region expressed the right to self-determination through their elected representatives back in 1988, realizing their absolutely legal constitutional right. In fact, the only aggressor in this case was Azerbaijan itself, who responded by hostilities, massacres, and war. And this is how it all started, from the aggression by Azerbaijan against the Armenians of Nagorno-Karabakh. Let me give you a few facts, rather dates, and whoever wants can do the math. The Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, USSR, officially ceased to exist on December 26, 1991. Azerbaijan held its independence referendum 3 days later, December 29, 1991. The independence referendum was held in Nagorno-Karabakh on December 10, 1991, when the Soviet Union was still existed. It resulted in the approval for independence by 99.89% of voters. Thus, by the time of dissolution of the USSR and Azerbaijan's gaining of independence, Nagorno-Karabakh was already independent, and any intrusions by Azerbaijan against independent Nagorno-Karabakh constitutes nothing else but a blatant violation of international law and an explicit aggression against Nagorno-Karabakh Republic. I really can't understand also the logic of Azerbaijan's statement that calls upon Armenia to comply with the resolutions and or decisions of international or regional organizations to which Armenia is not even a party to. This is also something new, since there is a lot of ground for legal novelties here as well. And this is also wishful thinking. Let's repeat the names of many distinguished organizations. Who cares if Armenia is not bound by those decisions and that those decisions have been adopted by Azerbaijan's initiative only, sometimes through explicit blackmailing. It is very obvious also why Azerbaijan constantly mentions some sort of attacks on Azerbaijani civilians. The Azerbaijani militants on a regular basis kill, maim, torture civilians, shoot on the ICRC delegations on the border. And the hypocrisy is that then you start blaming the victim for having been killed by the perpetrators. Azerbaijani media widely publicizes the speeches of the president of Azerbaijan, calling for a military solution to the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. This is well documented even on the president's website. Whereas no politician, no analyst, no media source can bring a single example of similar statements from the Armenian side. Another fact, the OSCE Minsk Group co-chairs have suggested removing the snipers from the line of contact. Azerbaijan is until today the only party that has openly rejected these proposals, continuing the murder of civilians by their snipers. Another shameful lie is any mention of destruction of Azerbaijani historical and cultural monuments. Once again, the places are shifted. All of the civilized world silently witnessed the destruction of the Armenian medieval monuments in Julfa Nakhichevan, which is well documented through videos, photos, eyewitness reports. There were not just Armenian monuments, this was the cultural heritage of humanity, and it's gone now. Meanwhile, some of the few monuments of Islamic art which have nothing to do with Azerbaijani culture are under the strict protection of the state, and those that needed repair or renovation from the Azerbaijani shelling have been restored with the professional help by invited specialists. So I'd like to call upon the Azerbaijan leadership to engage constructively in the Nagorno-Karabakh peace process within an aim of finding lasting solution based on the principles of self-determination, territorial integrity, non-use of force, and threat of use of force. Thank you, Mr. President.